It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
The car drives very well. The car is, again, this was a long part of the discussion prior to even start drawing the project, as we tried to, first of all, priority number one is to make a fast race car, because we need to have the best GT3 on the market. But also we need to make a car which suits all kinds of drivings, gentlemen, professional, less professional, drivers who like understeer, drivers who like oversteer. So we're trying to create a big spectrum of characteristics in the car to kind of give a big window to operate the car, and the car is good. I have to say, so far we drove in different tracks, different weather conditions, different tires, and I might say 95% of the time the car was out from the box, straight good to drive. The new M4 GT3, it is fast, very good on the tires, and a very easy car to handle in high and slow speed. And this, you're gonna make this probably the best GT3 ever. The outcome of the steering wheel has a very good grip, because this is what I have in my hands. And the steering wheel people might not consider, but it is the part of the car where connects the driver to everything else. So how I feel, how I have my hands, how do I have all the buttons and commands, that's what makes the car even more important, makes the car even faster, because that's how I feel it. Now we can have the race car straight into sim, and this is pretty remarkable. The steering wheel fits perfectly in our race car. You pull it out, you put on the sim, and you drive. And I think this is going to give a very unique experience for the sim racers, which nowadays they are professional racers, even closer to motorsport, to real racing, and vice versa. And for me, it would be also very important, a big help, to be able to take the steering wheel which I'm going to be racing at home and practice my M4 GT3 online with my steering wheel. I think this connection, it is priceless. A steering wheel, it is probably is the biggest gadget the driver can have in the car, and the most important gadget. And it can go either way. Sometimes you can have a very beautiful steering wheel, which is not practical. It is not easy to handle, to drive, because you have to think you're driving the car at 250, almost 200 kilometers an hour, and you have to operate the steering wheel. So you need a steering wheel which has to look good, has to be practical to the driver, but also has the right grip. And when he came up with there was the first, let's say, mock-up where it was kind of looking similar to the real one. And we're all excited to know what this company, Fanatec, who has never been in a race car before, would have presented to us. And they present something from the beginning very good. And if you see what has been presented from what now it is on the race car, it is very, very similar. We have done thousands of kilometers with the steering wheel, taking out from the car, putting on the sim, back from the sim into the race car with zero problems. Now, the steering wheel at the end, what is important? It has the ergonomics of the steering wheel, so you have to have a steering wheel which fits well in your hands. Okay, the size of the steering wheel is also important. It is important how you have the paddles, in case the clutch and the upshift, but also where you have the buttons, because what happens, you're driving, the engineer might ask for a command where you have to perform without losing lap time. And I see this picking up. If you see the sim racing, the level of sim racing which is currently on the market is extremely high. If you watch a sim race live on YouTube or in any platform, it looks very real. And I see this getting more and more popular, first of all, because, as I said, it is cheap. Second of all, it puts everybody on the same level and is very clean.
So the engine is twin turbo, 6-cylinder, 590 horsepower, and the main target for the engine was to reach a level which is good enough to compete with the competition, but mainly to run with a low mileage cost and reach as good as possible without minimum intervention on the engine, a very high mileage. So currently it's expected to have 20,000 kilometers. Yeah, so this is how the engine was set up and configured. So the complete car, including engine, drivetrain, suspension, aerodynamics, is being run over a virtual track in the simulation, running different options, judging the performance of the car, the lap time, tire degradation, and already doing the first loops of development and optimization where you want to have the car virtual. Yeah, I think the combination of virtual racing and real racing, it will get more and more. I don't think it will disappear anymore. I don't think one or the other can live, but they have to live aside each other. I think that could be a good combination for the future. One of the most important points for the GT3 car nowadays is drivability and driver comfort. Cars are used a lot in long distance racing, so the car must be easy to drive, consistent, and the driver must feel well in the car. So in the end of 2018, the ideas came up for the new car. Then you start to look, which car do we take, what makes sense, and the first ideas for the M4 GT3 were born, very rough ideas, and in 2019 I started to go into detail. The final, or let's say the more specific designs were done, and in that perspective also the ideas for the steering wheel came up, and the Fanatec idea was born. Going into detail and seeing what they could do, everybody started to be more and more interested in the project. And once we had the first steering wheels in hand and we got the first drawings in CAD, it came more and more alive, and it started to be really a realistic project. So in the development of the steering wheel, I had a lot of contact with the drivers to see what are their expectations from a steering wheel, what do they want, what do they need, and also with my background of being a former racing driver, I also tried all the prototypes to see if something is unlogic, not nice to hold. So we were in continuously contact in between Fanatec and the drivers. So compare between a steering wheel for a race car or a sim rig. The surrounding in which you use is quite different. On a racetrack, you have high temperatures. Cockpit can be up to 50 degrees. You have a lot of vibrations. You have different conditions, humidities. Where at home, normally the conditions are quite stable. There are much less outside effects. So this was really something we need to discuss with Fanatec and see that they could fulfill all these different conditions and expectations. Yeah, so taking the steering wheel from the sim rig to the car or the other way around, it's really easy. You just click it on with the quick connector and it works. It's really seamless. It's easy and working instantly. So we had different requirements on the steering wheel, like waterproof, vibration proof, resist different temperatures, being able to take the steering wheel a lot of times on and off the car, things which normally don't happen so much at home. And big difference is at home, even if something is not working or there's a small issue, you restart the sim, and in real life it can be really dangerous if something is happening. So the M4 GT3 has been designed completely virtual at the beginning. So TAD, CFD, simulations, all these aspects are done before the first parts are produced. So as a chief engineer, you go to all the departments, have a look at what they are doing, exchange thoughts, learnings from different projects, from previous projects, and try to optimize already the first parts before even the car is built up or hits the track. So the aerodynamics of the car, they are also designed virtual, simulated in CFD, trying to find the correct level of downforce which is required, looking at the track, different options of aerodynamics, and picking the best option out before starting to build the car. So far the drivers are very happy with the steering wheel. All the functions are working, the driver comfort with the steering wheel is very good. So we only got very positive feedback and also no problems so far. We did already quite a lot of mileage, so yeah, so far very good.